Well, so there's nothing really happy about the word cancer.
Right.
And like legitimately, right? When people hear the word, right? It's frightening. It's frightening, and it's very frightening when it's directed at you. So, I totally get how some people can get mired in a
Yes.
bit of depression. As a woman, a lot of our self esteem is tied to our hair. So that was a huge concern to me. I had long hair at the time. And as a matter of fact, I'm a two-time survivor, and I still have two ponytails, like literally sitting in my drawer because each time I went to the barber and got my ponytails cut off, because I chose to be somewhat in control of my destiny and how I knew I was going to lose my hair, but I would rather lose little bits of hair as a result, as opposed to losing long clumps of hair at any given time. So I went and got it. I got it cut off, and then I started the journey of both chemotherapy and radiation. In the first occurrence, because it was a localized cancer, it was a very small. It was a stage one, which is kind of the smallest stage that you can have. So literally, they eventually did just go in, cut it out, and they cut a free margin out, and so my breast otherwise stayed intact. But what happens is if you have another occurrence, right? There is no lumpectomy. You don't have the option of a lumpectomy. So the second go round, I had to have a mastectomy. So then it was up to me to decide whether or not I wanted to have a single mastectomy or whether or not I wanted to have a radical mastectomy, which meant both breasts would be taken. And quite frankly, for a couple reasons. Reason number one, okay, clearly I have a problem with my breasts in my mind, right? Clearly. And so, I'd had children, I'd been married for almost 30 years, and, we agreed, we meaning me and my husband, that, we didn't need them.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that you certainly have the ability of reconstruction. So, that's the route that we went. So I had a radical mastectomy. Also, it kind of seemed more difficult for the surgeons. If you had one removed, then they had to figure out how to make them both match one another, as opposed to just having them both removed and let's just start all over. So that was the route that I chose to go. And I think that there are a lot of people who probably look at me because I kind of poke fun at it a little bit, but I think, and it's not really poking fun of it, but it really is trying to just find some lightheartedness in what is an otherwise very daunting situation. One of the wonderful things that happened in between that time was like literally the year after my first diagnosis and I completed my treatment. Oh my gosh, it was like a couple months later. I found out I was pregnant with my youngest son, and he just happened to be one of those wonderful blessings. And I took that as God telling me, "Tammy, you're all well. Look," because literally, my youngest son was conceived after radiation, chemotherapy, and a tubal ligation. So he's my miracle child. It was beyond my wildest dreams and expectations that I might be pregnant. So I was really trying to think about, oh my goodness, so for the past, how many months, right? What have I eaten? What have I drank? And one of the things that I was engaged in was a clinical trial for breast cancer. And I encourage women, if you have the opportunity to get involved in a clinical trial, it is, in my opinion, a way of making some lemonade out of a unfortunate occurrence, because that is our way that we can give back to science and to research. One of the things that I chose to do, and everyone, one, has a different diagnosis, and two, everyone has a different outlook and way of handling their diagnosis. I choose to be pretty open with how I handle it. I tend to try to stay as positive as I possibly can in the midst of the chaos of it all. And I also choose to, if my story can help anyone, anywhere, if there's any education or anything that I can do to make sure that we gain some strides against breast cancer, oh my gosh, I think I owe it to humanity to do that. I think the mind matters. I totally believe the mind matters, and I choose to live my life as if it's gone, and I'm moving forward. There's absolutely no way that I would be able to live and be mired down with, oh my gosh, is it still here? What am I doing? I mean, I just refuse to do that.